So, yeah. I know. Now you're looking like, oh my God, he's halfway professional, but it took him 3 times to go online. Listen, I'm not good at this stuff. I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. Welcome to the World Show. It is Friday, August 2nd. Says so right there in the corner of my screen, a little bit after 10 o'clock in the morning, Los Angeles time. I need to slow things down a little bit because I get a lot of emails and I get a lot of questions. Guys, and more than I can answer, honestly. But I will do my best, and we're going to cover a couple things. And I do have a question for you fine folks, too. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. And I have a few things to talk about because you guys, the emails you guys give me, the questions you guys ask are all related to what's going on in the United States. Now, not so much from people that live here, not some, but mostly from abroad. People are going, okay, so just give me the skinny. Now, let me structure this correctly. Everybody on all the news channels, on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, blah, 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 they show you clips. And here's the clip, and here's the thing. And then there's a spin, whether they like it or they don't like it, but you get the same clip. We've all seen it. Then you go, and there's tons of really popular YouTubers out there, and they show the clip. And here's the clip, and then they have some comment, something funny, something to say. Do you guys want me to show the clips too? I mean, I can, but we've all seen them. Or do you want a still shot? You guys need to tell me which way you want to go there. I have not been in the habit, let's say, of dragging in clips. Here, let's watch this video. Here, let's see. I've been doing pictures. We've done some pictures over the past 6 months. We just changed the background. And here's the reason for the background, a side note. I think we collectively, we thought it was important when you watch a background of the Bottom of the Glass Nation show, which is by far the most fun show we do, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday nights. That should be the Bottom of the Glass Nation background, right? The Garage Show should be Garage Show background. Would you not agree? I think that's going to help people when they scroll through things and they look at stuff. They know right away. If we keep the background of the World Show some sort of a blue, some sort of a world theme, whether it's moving or not or static, who cares? But as long as you can start seeing that as a background, I think that would identify Garage, World Show, Bottom of the Glass Nation. We already know the kid shows that he does, the jukebox shows, is his background and his end of the studio. Good. Glad you're coming along with me on that one. Not much of a discussion there, was it? All right. So, that was the reason that we changed things, just for that. Now, I'm not trying to be super stylish or anything, because obviously we took this from someone else. We didn't make it. But it just, we thought the idea of the background would be better suited. And maybe we'll go with a static one. I don't know that I like this thing moving, but I can't change it now. But the idea is just to keep the format of the shows different so you know which one you're looking at. Right now, all the backgrounds look the same. Maybe I should wear a different hat with each one. Would that be good? Wear a different hat. If I'm wearing a certain hat, you know what show you're watching. All right. So good. Glad we got that cleared up. There's some things I wanted to show you. We have another screen where we spent some time. But the thing is bugging me the most, and I'm going to slow down a little bit here. I'm not going to ramble on like I normally do. I didn't drink a bunch of whiskey this morning like I normally do. Is because you guys have asked so many questions just as what's going on in the United States. What do you guys think? Well, I can't speak for all the politicians, but I've been on this planet a long time. Okay? I've seen a lot of politicians, seen a lot of decisions, learned afterwards why they made those decisions, learned afterwards how they arrived at those conclusions, and then we figure out, which ones were lying more than the other side. So, with that being said, I'm just going to present to you what I think is going on at street level, which is all we can do. When I ask you guys for help out there, say what's going on, like I would love to ask you guys in France, what's going on with the Olympics? Because it's bullshit as far as I'm concerned. And I know that's nothing to do specifically with Paris, but you guys are there. It's the vibe. How do you guys feel at street level over in France? What's going on? Maybe in all of Europe, you guys could be able to tell me, are you guys pissed about the men and women's sports part of it when they clearly say, yeah, you didn't pass the DNA test? You didn't pass the chromosome test, but we're letting you compete because before you got pulled unnecessarily, so we're letting it go. Does that bother you guys? Or you guys, maybe Europe's like, yeah, fuck it, we don't care. Let them everybody just play along. I don't know. I'd have to ask you because I don't know what's going on over there. I know what it's like over here. I can tell you that the majority of people in the United States, left and right, red and blue, they don't like this bullshit. There is a small minority of people that think transgendered people should be allowed to corrupt whatever sport they want to in whatever direction they want to. A small amount of people. So the first question you guys always ask me, you say, well, if it's a small amount of people, then how do laws get passed? How do rules get made? How does this happen if there's a small amount of people? It's one real simple thing. Write this down, because if you guys are looking for an answer, I've got it for you. Maybe the only one saying it. In my country, we fight for the underdog. In my country, we defend the little guy. In my country, everybody gets, well, now this poor little kitten is stuck in a tree, and we will spend resources and fire trucks and bring in helicopters to save the kitten in the tree. We will do that if there's one handicapped person in a wheelchair. We will build ramps everywhere. We will build ramps across the Grand Canyon. We stand up, we fight for, we help, we endorse the little guy who needs help, the downtrodden. We have that mindset. We will go out of our way to fix that type of a situation, okay? So if we're willing to go out of our way for the little guy, we go out of our way for that kind of stuff. If we clearly admit that this is what we do, all people have to do is come in and say, well, we're the transgender community, we're the minority, and we need help. People are picking on us. People aren't treating us fairly. We step in and go, you need to be picked, you need to be not picked on, you need to be treated fairly. Well, we'd also like to be put to the front of the line and have a special day, a special week, a special month. We'd like to compete in other sports. We'd like, whoa. But those same people, America's like, well, yeah, that sounds, we go down that road. And the politicians, you can have 300 million Americans that go, no, dude, that's not good. But 300 million Americans don't count. There can just be a handful of politicians helping out this small group, and those you only need to get about 200 people in the United States government to decide the fate of 300 million people. So if this group can get 200 or 300 people here, it's all they got to do is win up, maybe not even that many, maybe 30 or 40. The 30 or 40 will go get the 200. Laws get passed. Things get changed. And when you question them going, well, what the fuck, man? Why are you doing that? What are they always back? Whoa, we're helping out the little guy. We're helping out the minority. Do you not like the minority? Well, yeah, we do, but what are you doing? That's it. It's that simple. America likes the minority. We like the little guy. We like to help out. This group over here gets this many people. Now laws get passed, and then it's if you go against it, you're the one with the problem. That's it. It's that simple. If we were a country that didn't care, it wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
Jan Motz wants to know, in this case, who's going to defend the women Olympians from these he-she's that are being put against them?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Is that, okay, and this is a very Republican point of view in my country. They want to stand up for the women. They say, you are abusing women. You're taking grown-ass men, you're abusing women. Who's going to protect them? That's a very conservative Republican point of view. And they don't have an answer for that. So that when someone brings it up like Jan just did, you say, well, who's going to do that? Who's going to stand up for those women? Well, who needs to? There's lots of women out there. Who needs to? You're just transphobic. You got problems. No, we really have a legitimate question. No, you don't. The backlash of this, remember I told you got the minority group here, you got 30 or 40 people in government that get 200 and pass the laws, and the 300 million don't get to speak. The backlash is pretty soon the 300 or 400 million are going to speak. Not 400 million, we don't have that many people, but the majority, the 300 million are going to say something at some point. Left and right, they're like, this isn't good. I know the Democrats, liberals, were supposed to stand up for but you've just crossed the line here. This is part of the movement that you guys have asked me about. So I'm letting you know. All right. Let's go back to some of the stuff we wanted to talk about real quick. One of the questions you guys asked me before repeatedly over and over was about what's China going to do? And I told you a little quick blurb a week ago. I said that I have one guy that I talk to, one guy who's connected in such a way that I can get some straight answers. And usually I do. And this time it was, I said, well, Joe Biden told Iran, don't. And they did. They funded Hamas. They funded Hezbollah. They shot a bunch of missiles. So apparently Biden saying don't didn't do anything. He also told Russia, stop. Biden's really good at these one word, don't. Did you hear me? Now, if you're a parent of my generation, that was all it took. When your mom or dad said don't, you didn't need a 4-paragraph explanation. You knew what don't was and you didn't do it. Biden comes out, stop to Russia. Same thing. I know what that means. My parents said, stop. All right, that's enough. You can get your ass kicked in a minute. But Russia didn't stop. Russia's still not stopping. So his answer to China was, well, you kind of leave Taiwan alone. Leave them alone. Don't do it. Well, okay, I take that back. Biden didn't actually come out and say it in those words. He has never come out and given a one-word answer, given a sentence answer to China and said, look, I'm serious here. Quit fucking around. He says things like, well, if you get rowdy, we're going to defend Taiwan. If it need, they're our ally. We support them. I'm letting you. He's not letting him know shit. He's already said, don't to Iran, and they did. Stop to Russia, and they didn't. You think some little comment about now we really like Taiwan and all this, we're really kind of friends over there. Don't mess with our friends. Do you think that's going to mean anything? So I called my friend and I said, so this shit's getting real over in the Middle East. Just a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert. What do I know? Well, I'm a little worried that maybe China thinks this is a good opportunity to start some shit. Like we all know. We've all been talking about it. It's not just me. Everybody's been talking about Hezbollah. Hamas is the JV team. We all know that. You know, there was never going to be a problem with Israel's defense forces coming in there just kicking the shit out of them. It was a given. Now, Hezbollah is a different story. Now, in my opinion, we're going to kick the shit out of Hezbollah too. We, Israel, are allies, but it's going to be a little tougher, not as straightforward. And they're coming in from Lebanon. We all know Israelites are fleeing. Israelis are fleeing. They're running south to get away, and the border's being secure. They know what's coming, but it's not as much of a slam dunk, and we're going to have to jump in there and help them. Can it be done? Yeah, pretty handedly also. Until every other country begins to attack. And here was my question to my friend. If all that becomes a ground war, if all that becomes a focus, wouldn't China have a great opportunity to invade Taiwan while we're busy? And for the first time in all my conversations in the past 3 years with this particular individual, he wouldn't answer me. Dead silence on the phone. Didn't give an opinion. Didn't hang up. I moved on to other questions, and he responded just fine. But I do know that a lot of the resources in the last 6 months, stateside, think tanks, stuff like that, have the resources that were over there cracking things down on the Middle East have now been pulled. And these think tanks, these focus groups, these strategy centers are now focusing on the South China Sea. That much I do know. That's a fact. But I don't know what it means. Now you know as much as I do, which ain't much. So let's get back to some of these things. The reason I'm gonna bring you full circle here, but it's gonna take a minute. All right. When our government, when Biden says don't, when Biden says stop, when Biden says leave our friends alone, doesn't matter, doesn't change anything. Now, I want to give you 2 points here on a story. This story got circulated a while ago, and then it just came back to life on TikTok and Facebook Reels and whatnot recently. But there's a story that goes around about Trump, and he was sitting with an interpreter and the leaders in Afghanistan. You guys can go look this up. And he tells him, he says, we're going to withdraw from Afghanistan, but it's going to be on our terms, and we're going to do it how we feel. He wanted to keep Bagram Air Force Base, too. He wanted to keep that and said, but we're pulling out everything else. But if you shoot one person, if you harm one American, we're not leaving. We're going to turn around and fuck everything up for you. And the interpreter tells him, and the Afghans, well, you can leave, and they say, we'll control what we can. And then Trump pulls out, he tells the interpreter to tell them, say, to the lead guy over there, Taliban's lead dude, and said, you tell him if one American gets harmed, I'm going to kill him. Go look this up. And the interpreter's like, well, how do you want me to say it? He goes, just fucking like that. Tell him I'm going to kill him. As we withdraw, you fuck around, you tell him. And so the interpreter does. And of course, the other guys on the other side are like, what the fuck? And Trump pulls out a satellite picture of the dude's house. Stands up, buttons his coat, and walks out. Guess how many Americans got hurt after that? As long as Trump was in office, I should say. 0. Go look it up. Now, why am I telling you this? 2 reasons. One's a simple one. Who we have in office in the United States completely dictates how the rest of the world goes. Because we carry a big fucking stick. And when we have a president who's not afraid to use it, people think twice. Just do. It's the way it's always been. It's absolutely the way it's always been. You know, one of the reasons the Cold War didn't turn into an actual war is because Reagan was very clear, not as loud as Trump, but he's very clear. He's like, if you do this, you're going to get the full force of the United States. We're not even going to hold back, not even a fucking little bit. He could be diplomatic. He could talk. Reagan had conversations, but Reagan also said, "Don't fucking do it," and you better believe me. And they did. How many hotspots like this were firing rockets and bullets and invasions when Trump was in office? 0. Now you guys don't even they don't even report on things good about Trump. Trump didn't take a salary the whole time he was in office. Yeah, we don't want to report that. It's a good thing. The Abraham Accord over in the Middle East brought almost everybody together. They were like 98% to be finished with actual, real, lasting peace. Well, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. No. That makes Trump look good. But here's the other thing. I just told you the Afghan story, little meeting room, the interpreter of the Afghan story. So the first thing someone does is on the liberal left, they come out and say, that story never happened. It's not true. Didn't happen. Well, now I got to go look. Now I got to go see if it did happen. I got to go do the fact check thing. And you can't use just regular fact checkers because there's fact checkers that go, no, it didn't happen at all. And really, that's all the left wanted to hear. That's all they wanted to hear was, well, you know, I'm a Democrat, and I heard that story wasn't true. I heard that never happened with Trump. So, you know, quit telling me the story because it never happened. So you got to dig around. You got to find out. You find out, okay, it did happen. There was people there. There was people that said I was in the room. I was there. I was right after the room. I was the interpreter. You get people say it was an absolutely true story. So that makes the conservatives feel good. It's like, well, I told you it was a true story. Now, everything that we're building on this conversation makes sense, does it not? But the left goes, well, I heard it was not a true story. Well, did you look any further to find out? Well, no, I read a couple things online. They said it wasn't a true story. So, you know, clearly it's not true, but it was. Well, now I don't know. Now you're saying it was, they're saying it. Well, who knows if it was or not? I mean, who can really tell? You know, the waters are kind of muddy around here. No, you don't really want to know the truth. Most Democrats, most liberals, once someone tells them a fact that makes Trump look bad, makes the Republicans look bad, they don't bother to see if it's true. They just run with it. In fact, they don't want to know. If you come back and say, hey, I did some homework on that topic, and it turns out that it was true. Well, you know, who knows? I mean, where'd you get your information? I mean, who are you listening to? Maybe they're full of shit. I mean, they don't really want to know. This goes back to you guys asking about what's going on in my country. We're divided. We choose to stay divided. Nobody's really looking for the truth unless it benefits their side. I'm just giving you examples on how bringing it into perspective with the wars, the conflicts, and giving it to you at street level. This is the way it is. I have liberal friends that don't even want to know the truth. Even when you figure it out, they're like, nah, that sounds convoluted to me. I don't know. I'm just sticking with my story. Yeah, Gen X mom.
Tomash is in the house.
Tomash. Tomash
wrote,
is in Israel. He's our number one guy over in Israel. He picks up a weapon and stands a post for the bottom of the glass nation and all of us. Yeah.
He has posted, soon they are going to launch a missile attack on us and a crazy mess either today or tomorrow, but this is already received intelligence.
Yeah, they're just waiting for them to bury the guy that we smoked out and killed. I'm partnering with Israel right now. Israel smoked that dude out and killed him, and so they're waiting for him to be in the ground and a little, ceremony to be over. Yeah, then they're going to go after him. They're already launching attacks, but they're going to come in from the north heavy. They already know. I mean, it's a thing. The problem is, and here's the thing that people aren't really realizing, or I don't know if they realize, maybe they do, but not everybody even acknowledges Israel's right to exist. 28 of the UN member states do not recognize Israel. 15 of them are in the Arab League. You got Algeria, Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya. I'm reading a list over here. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Syria, Tunisia, Yemen. There's a ton of people that, and why bring that up? Why mention? I'm worried that the countries that won't even recognize Israel are the ones that may help in an attack. I mean, could Israel fight off 3 fronts? 4 nations attacking them? Are we in a position to help if that happens? I'm just throwing stuff out there as a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert. Just keep in mind, Hezbollah is much different than Hamas, and so is Iran, much different than Hezbollah. And all the other countries that could attack Israel and take over. And they all want the same thing. They want them gone, wiped off the face of the earth from the river to the sea. Well, you just need to be executed and gone. That's what they want. Yes, Gen X mom.
Scott Roller on Facebook, when you decide to spew political bull, I feel differently about you now.
Yeah, that's really going to keep me up at night. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, because God knows I'm not supposed to have an opinion on anything. But all I am doing is giving you street level. I'm answering questions. All I've done right now is answer the questions of what everyone keeps asking me, what's going on in the United States. I'm just looking out my front door and telling you. I'm not telling you anything different than anybody else is. Anybody with any common sense is just looking at things simply. I'm not making any predictions. All I'm telling you is that there's some things that aren't good. There's some things that aren't happening over here. Do you guys? One of the questions you guys are asking me lately is about Kamala Harris. A ton of stuff about Kamala Harris. So I can just report to you and tell you from street level, nobody really liked her. Even the Republicans certainly didn't, but they didn't care because she was nobody. The Democrats didn't care because she wasn't going to be president. So, she was, when she ran against Joe Biden, she lost drastically. Nobody voted for her. Nobody gave her any money. She pulled out of the race quick. She was brought back in because she's a woman and because she's a minority, black or whatever, Indian, whatever she is. And they that'll help bring in minority vote, help bring in the woman vote. That's the whole point. That's just politics. Republicans do it too. Republicans do the same thing. They choose who the vice president nominee will be to strengthen their party and bring in votes. Wow, what a big shocker there. The problem is for the Democrats is that because no one cared about what Kamala Harris was doing or saying, the vice president of the United States is just a stupid job anyway. You don't have any authority no matter who you are. You don't really get much done unless you can get the president to do stuff and back you up. But it's kind of a meaningless job in a lot of ways. And I know there's some importance to it. Yes, I'm not saying that, but nobody cared what she did or said because they weren't taking her seriously anyway. She wasn't making policy. So Kamala Harris goes down the road. One thing she was good at for the left was she went down the road of, defund the police. She could, we got to talk to the Palestinians. They're real people and they count. She's for every minority group. And that was okay. She was appeasing the far left radical part of the Democratic Party. And everybody got that. Nobody cared. It's like, well, you have some of those that just go out there and, we got to get rid of the Supreme Court. And you got to reorganize the Supreme Court. We got to, and the guns got to be taken. It's just whatever far left lunatic thing you want to say, let your vice president say it. It shows that your party is supporting it, that your government is supporting it. And who really cares? It's not policy. It's just someone flapping their gums. However, now She may be, is the presumed front runner for the ticket, and now she has to go and answer for all the stuff she's been saying for 3 years. Well, she can't hide it. It's all out there on the internet, and people are bringing it up and say, well, you said defund the police. Well, what I meant was, and then defund, I really meant reorganize, and I meant train. Say, well, you were for the Palestinians. Do you not support Israel? Well, no, we're Israel's friend, but what I'm trying to say is we should all get along. She's got a lot to answer for now. This was never supposed to happen. So now, as every politician does, every politician runs towards the center. You can't be too far right. You can't be too far left. You have to campaign in the center. I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. Is that's a little bit hard to do for her because two things. One, she said all this stuff. It's out there. For 3 years, she's been saying about as far left as you can get, and she's not good at public speaking. That's not one of the characteristics that she holds dear to her heart. She's not good at that. She's not natural at that. She fumbles around, and this is where I said, you guys don't really want me to bring up all this stuff on word salad, word salad, word salad, word salad, word salad. No, you don't. The videos are out there. I wasn't trying to bring them here. She's not very good at that, and she has to do the things she's not very good at to bring her back to center. It's a tough road. Yeah, Gen X mom.
Hold on, I got to go back. First of all, Tomash went and gifted memberships. Hawaiian 82, Mysterios, Shane, and Forrest all got memberships.
You believe that Tomash is over there in Israel. He suffered through all the attacks. He had relatives. One relative, I think, died. Others got hurt. He's been in the middle of this, and now he's giving you guys memberships to stay afloat in here. I can't tell you what that means to all of us right now, especially all of you guys. And there's a certain group of us that are like family that know him. Yeah, Gen X mom.
Bruce on Facebook. Wait, I hope you feel the same for Ukraine as you do for Israel.
Yeah, God, yes. I wish, one thing that I do feel that way for Ukraine. I just wish that I like what Trump says when he goes, I'm just going to stop the fucking wars. I don't know how he's going to do it. I'm not sure how quickly he can do it. Trump exaggerates a lot of stuff. He's like, on day one, I'm fixing everything. Yeah, I don't know if he can fix it that fast. But I like the idea of him being dedicated enough to saying it like, I'm going to fucking straighten this shit out. I dig that part. Yeah, Gen X mom.
I Hate Fuck says, how do you sleep at night?
I don't really. It's hard. I don't know what you mean by that. I hate fucks. Where the fuck have you been anyway, man? Your name hasn't come across my screen in a while. You're noticeably absent. I'm telling the bookkeeper. I'm telling Mrs. Four on you. Yeah.
Tracy over on Facebook. I'm finding this very interesting, and I'm from Canada. Please continue.
Thank you. And remember, this is just looking out my front door stuff. What?
There's just more.
Oh, well, I'm looking out my front door. I'm just telling you guys what an average American looks at and thinks. I'm just like the Kamala Harris thing. This is not rocket science. I'm not lying. She was inconsequential. Nobody cared. She ran her mouth. Now she's in a position where she's got to cover her tracks, and she's not very good at it. Let's see where it goes. How is that wrong? I feel for Ukraine. I hope that Trump wins and he fixes it where nobody else dies. How's that wrong? That's what a lot of Americans think. They're just like, God, I just wish this shit would stop. When I say Hezbollah is worse than Hamas, is that a lie? Boy, it just must stir you guys up when you don't have any way to poke fun at me about that shit, because I'm just walking around just telling you what I see. Wow, that's a real tough one, isn't it? Yeah, Gen X mom, go ahead.
Daniel on Facebook. Collectively, as Americans, we need to take a step back and look in the mirror. We need to learn to understand each other and unlearn the hate.
Well, who said that?
Daniel.
Daniel on Facebook. Listen, this was me getting to Sunny Point number 3. I talked about how we're very divided and nobody really wants to hear the truth. Nobody digs further than what they want to know, and that's good enough for them. That's the headlines. Trump's a racist. Trump's a this. Kamala's that. Kamala. And once you hear what you want to hear, you close your ears, you close your eyes, and you carry on. Okay. So we're very divided. The reason I brought that up at the beginning is because that is a very difficult way to exist as a country. Not a lot gets done. And every time things do get done, no matter which side accomplishes something, there's hate on the other side. Now, I don't want Americans to go to war. Did you hear that part? Because this is the part you'll skip over. I'm going to say something, and all you assholes are going to do is remember the part I'm saying right now. No one's going to remember that I'm saying I don't want Americans to go to war. I would prefer no Americans die solving world problems. But how likely is that? People die solving world problems. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
John Wright says, what about Turkey? Why should they be a part of NATO if they will not support Israel? NATO needs to be fixed.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with NATO. I'm wondering to see if Turkey, Iran just said, if any of you guys let Israel's allies fly over your country, we're going to be at war with you. Man, I'm really not sure which ways Turkey's leaning with that. It'd be interesting to see. But to my point, I don't want any Americans to die. But I will tell you that a big conflict in the Middle East where we get involved, Ukraine, if we have to physically get involved, if China attacks Taiwan and we have to get involved, that's going to do two things in my country. Actually, three things. Three things it's going to do in the United States. One, it unites us. Oh, you've always got the crybabies. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be. Well, okay, shut the fuck up. You say that all you want, but face the wall because no one's listening. It very much unites this country. I mean, regulations come off. We can drill for oil. We can drill for gas. You know, the restrictions go away with the EPA. We start building bombs and guns and training people. It really unites the country when we see what's going on, when there's an evil axis out there in the world. It unites us. Number two, it gets rid of the people in the military that are fucking it up. Oh, I know. Years ago with Clinton, we had don't ask, don't tell with gays in the military. And I'm not talking about gays in the military. There's gays in the military that want to be there and they can fight and they can kick ass. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is all the people that are like, well, I want to be a Marine, but I don't want to shoot. I don't want to stab anybody with a knife. I think the rules in the Marine Corps should be changed. No, we're not changing the way we fight. It'll get rid of some of those people because when you have a war, things all of a sudden get focused right down in there and say, well, I was told I didn't have to carry a gun. Well, you were told get the fuck out of here. Go in the fucking kitchen. Clean up after the horses or something. A war, a conflict like that, as much as I don't want it to happen, unites the country for the United States. It weeds out the assholes who shouldn't be in the military anyway, fucking everything up. And we learn which politicians are the problem. Because if they don't get behind survival mode, which is what we would be in, if they don't get behind survival mode, they need to go. It exposes them. I don't want anybody to die. I don't like civil war. I don't like any of the fucking wars that go on. But I think we'd all agree sometimes they happen and sometimes, God forbid, they're necessary. I have sons. I have daughters who are going to get caught up in this. And they may not come home. I don't want that to happen. But there is something about that type of a situation that on the other side of it, this country, the United States, can come out a lot better off. I hope we don't have to go through it. But you got to realize that's how I've been on this planet a long time, just watching. I just watch and I listen and I observe and I go, all right. All I do is apply some common sense. I don't let assholes like you, well, he doesn't know about this and there's that. Yeah, there's all sorts of little tangents you can get on and you bring things down. Now we're in the mud. Now we're in the weeds. Nothing makes sense. Everything's convoluted. Let's just pull back and use some common sense. War's not good. People die, it's bad. Pretty simple. Russia should leave Ukraine the fuck alone. Everybody should leave Israel alone. China should leave Taiwan alone. Common sense. So now you know that part of what I'm saying. I'm going to let Gen X Mom, your queen, blow through the sheets here because she's flicking her finger in the air like she's got Tourette's syndrome. She's cussing me out.
I don't want you to forget because people are responding
to
you.
Go.
Stuart Bailey, Russia and China might come to Lebanon's side as peacekeepers because the UN has said that Israel has broken their conventions and committed war crimes. Any excuse and they'll turn up.
Could be true.
Kim Campbell, member for 2 months. What is the modern day point of NATO? It was created to stand against USSR that has since fallen and no longer exists. So why do we still fund NATO?
Well, the short answer for NATO is that's where all the countries come together to discuss things. And other countries have to be careful when they go there, because if they step on their dick during a conversation or during a meeting, you can have a lot of other countries turn against you real quick. It's a lot harder to do that without NATO. It'd be harder to have these instruments where you can go in and say, okay, let's all sit here and talk. Where? If there's no more NATO, if there's no more League of Nations like there was before NATO, where do these conversations take place? You just have Zoom calls? Try to get everybody on a Zoom call? There is some use for NATO. Don't think that there's not. There is. Yeah.
That is it for right now. We're caught up.
You've been flicking your finger in the air for 20 minutes and it was one comment?
2.
Okay, I just tell you. All right, so that's the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about there. And it's I wanted to slow down when we talked about it, because it's just observations. I'm telling you, there is a divide in my country, and people only hear what they want to hear. They get to an answer and they stick with it, regardless if it's true or not. They don't care. That's a problem in my country. A conflict, a lot of times, solves that. It's true. Yeah. There's stuff going on around the world that we don't really have as much control over with the current administration, I believe. And I'm just telling you what he's already done. Stop. Don't. Leave him alone. People are just blowing right by that. We do have evidence that when Trump was in office, a Trump-style president, less wars, more people listening. More people believing what he's saying. I don't think anybody believes what Biden says. Because right now, Biden's a lame duck president. No matter if Trump wins or Kamala Harris wins, he's out either way. So what he says makes very little difference, just like the prisoner exchange right now. I don't even want to get into the mess on that. I don't like it. I liked it better when we didn't negotiate with terrorists. And now they're weighing it out. It's like, well, it's the right thing to do to bring Americans home. Well, it is. Why does there have to be a prisoner exchange? Now, this is just me. I haven't heard this anywhere else. It's just me talking out my ass again and making everything up as I go along, because the points don't matter. But if we have several Americans being held captive and they're like, well, we'll give them back if you give back some of ours. Well, you guys are asshole killer fugitives that are fucking raping the world. Well, so are your journalists. No, you're just saying that. You just went out and grabbed a bunch of Americans so you can get your assholes back. Why are those two things connected? We're not at war. This isn't a prisoner exchange because we're at war. Why do they call it a prisoner exchange? This is a prisoner of what? Prisoner of war? So if the LAPD locks somebody up and puts them in jail, they can trade with Putin in Ukraine. It's technically a prisoner exchange? Well, yeah, a county jail or a city jail isn't really the same thing as a government holding you. If our American people are over there in Russia or anywhere being held incorrectly, that issue should stand on its own, in my opinion. You don't just say, well, because what you do is if you say, well, we'll exchange prisoners, then all Russia has to do is go, okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our deep cover operatives. You got 6 of our killers over there. Okay, so somebody go out and just grab 10 Americans. Make them businessmen and journalists and convict them of some crime and bring them back here. All right, do you want to exchange criminals? Well, I didn't think you had any criminals that were Americans. Oh, yeah, we just grabbed a bunch of them, made up some charges. Do you want to exchange them or not? Come on, you get some good publicity out of this. Why is it like that? Why can't we just go over there? You know what? I'm not talking about giving up your assholes over here, but those are American citizens, and we're coming to get it. Why can't we just do that? Why does there have to be an exchange? Why do we promote this exchange thing? Because then they can just, next time they want some of their guys, the CIA grabs a bunch of people, the FBI grabs a bunch of people, then they just, well, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. Go grab 12 Americans and let's do this again. I don't know why the terms are related. I don't get that. I don't know why we don't just say, look, I'm not talking about your people in jail over here. They're fucking assholes. I'm talking about good people that didn't do anything wrong, and now you're pissed us off. I want them back fucking now. Well, would you be willing? No, I'm not even talking about your asshole criminals. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you did, and I want them back now. Now, this is why I'm not in charge of anything. No one will put me in charge of shit because I'm probably don't know enough to go do that, but that's how I'd feel about it. I mean, I don't know that I'd send in SEAL Team 6, but that would be my first thought. I don't know why we do things the way they do. What happened to America doesn't negotiate with terrorists? That was a good firm line. A lot less shit went on. Oh, there was incidents you can point out. Oh, what about Beirut? And what about the hostages in Iran? Well, yeah, I got it. Things did happen, but we held the line. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Janek's mom.
Tomash gave 15, is it shekels?
I think so. That little symbol with the hands.
15, and he said, hi, yeah. Jeffrey Montgomery has a question for you.
Jeffrey Montgomery, go.
Is Kamala carrying her stick or a pool noodle?
What?
Is she carrying a stick or a pool noodle?
Oh, I don't think she's carrying anything right now. She's just trying to figure out. She's pulled back from her press conferences, and she's trying to figure out what. Let me go to a couple things over here. Let's go to the drag and drop section. Oh my God, look at that! It's a new drag and drop section. So that's one thing. And I'm talking about all this stuff. And if we have to go to war, and right as we're doing all this, what comes out in our country? What report came out in the United States a week ago, right at this terrible time? You think someone would have said, let's not release that report just quite yet, but we did. So now it's out there. The U.S. is not ready for global war. The commission warns. They do this thing. They studied it for 18 months. They talked to everybody. They counted all the airplanes. They counted all the submarines. They counted all the rounds of ammunition. And then they went and surveyed everybody in the military and said, are you ready to fight or are you not ready to fight? Are you trained or are you not trained? And they came back and said, we're not even ready for this shit. Our military is fucked up, underfunded, underpaid, understaffed, don't got the gear. We're not ready for war. Perhaps now I am just a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert. What do I know? I know I shouldn't be in charge of anything other than my own bodily functions. Got you. Why release that report right now and let all of our enemies know, hey, if you guys are thinking about fucking around, now's the time. We're not ready at all. Just saying. That seemed kind of dumb too. All right. We talked about Kamala Harris moving to the center. CNN host says that Harris has a lot of explaining to do over her past left-wing agenda. That's CNN, who provides cover for Democrats, who promotes their lies. They absolutely, when Kamala Harris says, oh, Biden's fine, he's fine, he's been fine, I see him every day, he's fine, there's no problem, then it comes out Biden's all fucked up, and they turn to Harris and go, well, you said he was fine. CNN was one of the first ones to go, well, he was probably fine for that hour, the hour he's a very busy man. He was fine for those moments that she didn't know. He was fine for that. They cover for her. Everybody knew. I mean, when a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert knows there's something wrong with the president, everybody's got to know. How could she not know? And this is CNN, who usually covers for her, now saying, look, you got a lot of explaining to do because you were way, way, way far out there. And she's got to figure out how to get back to the center. Not saying anything too political, am I? I'm just kind of looking out my front door, telling you what I see. It's pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. All right. What else? Doom. On another topic here. Well, we talked a little about the Olympic boxing thing and how in the beginning of the program and how there is a rule. They do DNA tests. They do the chromosome test. If you're a guy, you can't go in and compete against women. And there's controversy over like 3 or 4 of these people, and they let them in anyway. The girl quit. They kicked the shit out of her, and she walked out of the ring and said, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. No shit. And if you are a real woman and you identify, and that's the only rules, Mike Tyson, he said he would be very willing to enter all the paperwork and go in as a woman and fight you, and all the money can go to charity, go to women's abuse centers. If he really said, I think he said that, it's out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike was like, yeah, fuck it. I will fill out all the paperwork, identify as a woman, so we're on the same page. You identify as a woman, I identify as a woman. Let's just get out there and have it out. Tough guy or tough girl? I thought that was great. Guess what? No comment from that whole side of the aisle, too. I want to say something about the Olympics here. That I think it's getting away from the political side, from the minority side, from the trans side of it. I think, and this is a good idea, but it'll never take hold. But if it does one day, if 50 years from now this actually happens, I want you to remember this moment in time. All right? I think in every event in the Olympics, like track and field, swimming, they got 10 lanes of swimmers. I think they should put an average person in the Olympics, right in the middle. You're gonna run track for 50 laps around the track. Put some jabroni out there from who works at IBM and say run. I think just to give us all a perspective on how great these athletes are, I think every event should have a regular person who's can't even come close. This is what a regular person would do in the 100 meters. So watch them, and now you can see how, because all the athletes are pretty close, and we think, wow, that's really good. They're really fast. Look at them swim. Look at them run. Look at them jump. Look at them go. Yeah, but we really can't. We don't have the appreciation to how great these athletes are until we put an average person in there. I think every event possible should have an average person in there just to give us all some much needed perspective on how great these events and athletes are. No, that's just me. What do I know? Nothing. Gen X Mom.
The Texan on YouTube has a question for you.
I would love to hear this.
How does the general feel about a full-on military campaign against the Mexican cartel?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know, because you can't really go into Mexico, South America. You can't just say, well, we're fighting bad guys, so your country needs to get out of our way. Open your borders. Let us do what we want. I mean, I would be all for a there's movies. There's so many movies like Clear and Present Danger and other ones too. Well, I'm all for like going in there and not telling anybody, if they're doing the right thing, don't hurt innocent people. Just fuck up the bad guys and then pretend we're not there. This is where I differ from a lot of Christian conservative Republicans. They would say, no, you can't do that. Well, but the cartels are murdering, killing, and drugs and violence. And I think we should go in there with SEAL Team 6 and fuck all of them up and then lie and say we weren't ever there. No, you can't do that. That's illegal. That's so wrong on so many levels. Yeah, I know it is. I know it's not correct behavior. I got it. But you asked, that's my version of it. Now, do you want to have an armed incursion that's on C-SPAN that's being there's reporters in the trenches as you go along? No, I don't want any of that. I wouldn't favor that at all. But I think once in a while you gotta punch the bully in the nose. And when they do stuff outside the law, when they do stuff and just run rampant, I don't think it should shock anybody if somebody comes in and does it back to them. I think everyone's reaction would be, well, you really probably shouldn't have done that, United States, but damn glad you did. That's just me. This is why I'm not in charge of anything. Yeah.
Remember that thing I showed you yesterday about the Turkey guy did the shooting thing in Olympics?
Yeah.
He just looked like what you say, a jabroni. He
An
just
average
walked
guy,
up there
yeah,
and was like,
he did that shooting contest. He just brought no special glasses. He's all his competitors look like cyborgs, and they got all this gear, and they got earpieces on, and they got these special weapons that look like they weigh 80 pounds. The dude just walks out there and puts his hand in his pocket and takes home the silver medal for Turkey. That's what I'm talking about. You just get an average guy out there and see how they do.
Exactly.
All right. Anything else?
No. I don't have anything in the sheets right
Well,
now.
I think I'm going to wrap it up. I had some more. Let me check my book of lies. I wrote down a book of lies to talk about. I think I covered most of it in there. Also
on the Olympics, can I give my opinion a little bit?
Sure.
It's kind of lost its luster over the years.
Yeah.
Because I remember, it's way back, but I went to the 84 Olympics when it went to Los Angeles and came to Los Angeles, and it was amazing. I mean, it was just the whole town, everything. I used to watch the Olympics. That was like an event in our home, but I just don't feel that way anymore.
It doesn't have the appeal for me that it once did. Too many things have changed traditionally, and it just bothers me. So there's a lot of things I step away from. Just like I didn't like the opening ceremonies with that, and then everybody, Whoopi Goldberg goes on TV and says, if you don't like the opening ceremonies, turn off your television and just shut up about it. Really? Is that what you do, Whoopi? When you see something you don't like about Trump or Republicans, do you just turn off the TV and shut up? No, you run your fucking mouth all day long, so don't expect everybody else to be quiet. And then they figured out within a couple weeks, well, they weren't making fun of the Last Supper. They were taking some very ancient, historical, and traditional, and I forget what it was now, and they spun it around. And now, if you question what they did, you're a fucking moron for not knowing your history. Although it took them 3 weeks to find this and go, oh, let's call it that. And I just skipped over it. But yeah, there's a bunch of that. But when that type of shit goes on, I think we've lost the pageantry that it once had. I think you're right. The luster's gone. It's not a shiny object anymore. It's like, yeah, okay. And plus, then you got, the basketball teams. I'm not in favor of pros going there. This is supposed to be an amateur event. And I know the United States sends pro basketball players. I remember the Dream Team, and from then on, I think that takes away from, the whole idea of the Olympics supposed to be an amateur event. I don't agree with how we're handling it on our end, but
that's what I think. I feel bad for the athletes that train. I mean, it's a lot of training that they do, and then when they go, it's just not. And like somebody just said, Rogan just broke the Olympics down that it's a scam, generates hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, it's huge, yeah.
And the athletes get nothing. Cue Ball just posted that, and that's so true.
Coca-Cola will come in and sponsor, a bobsled team, and it goes to the commission. It doesn't go to the athletes. I mean, the athletes get fed, they get hotel rooms, they get per diems and stuff, but the bulk of the money gets kept not by the athletes that do it. But like you said, to your point, the athletes come in and they train and they train and they train, and then women have to fight against men. Women have to race against men. Or basketball teams that have trained for 5-6 years come in and they have to play against professional athletes in the NBA. I mean, there's just a bunch of little stuff that doesn't look familiar to me anymore. I'm not as interested in the accomplishments. Now, if some woman beats the man, I want to know. I think that's great. If someone beats the NBA team, great. I want to know that because that's amateurs overcoming. That's great. That's good stuff. Just like the Russians had a professional hockey team in the Miracle on Ice. A bunch of kids came in there and kicked the shit out of them. That was great. That's when the amateurs overcome the professionals. That part I do like. And I don't care if it happens to us or not. I'm interested in those kind of stories. But you're right. I think the luster, the shine is a little bit gone. So listen, I got to get out of here. That's the World Show for today, August 2nd. Covered a bunch of stuff. And remember, I'm just a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert. I just look out my front door and I give you what I see. I'm not passing judgment on people. I'm just telling you what I'm looking at. And this is it. I tell you there's a divide. I tell you that Kamala Harris isn't a strong candidate. Yeah, she's not. And we all think so. I don't know where it's going from there. I tell you Donald Trump exaggerates it. He fucking exaggerates everything. So what? I don't even care about that. I'd hire him to fix my country. I don't give a shit about the stories he tells. We all have friends like that tell those stories, and they're still your friends. You don't have them not come over to your house because they tell big fish tales. You bring them over because they tell you big fish tale stories. Give them a couple beers and let's go. So we talked about the possibilities and the problems. We talked about the issues. See what happens. I don't know. But I do want to bring you things from the perspective of just common sense, because everybody will drag you down in statistics and charts and focus groups. And they'll say, well, did you know there was a study done over here? And yeah, I got it. But that's where when you know you're behind on an argument, you know you're going to lose, you start bringing up all these things so it muddies the waters. You give the other guy, now you got 13 things you got to go look up to see if what this guy said was true, just to come back and find out if the conversation's even valid. I pull way back from all that and just give you a common sense perspective on what it looks like from my point of view. There's a lot of other YouTubers out there, a lot of other channels giving you the facts, the charts, the statistics, and they're great about it. Follow them. But if you just want the common sense approach, this is it. That's why I'm telling you. Anyway, I got to get out of here. It's time to go. I got stuff to do. We got a garage show tonight at 6 o'clock, which should be fun. We'll see if it's hot enough to do it inside or outside. We'll find out if we can actually be in our garage today. It's still been goddamn hot out here. Thank you guys for wasting an hour of your day. If you had an hour to waste, thanks for wasting it with Gen X Talks. We'll catch you guys on the flip side, but most importantly, remember, wherever you go, there you are. Just look down. It's pretty easy to do.